Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Sex, Lies, and Consciousness with your luscious hostess, Mai Vu, broadcasting live every Monday at 12 noon Pacific Time.
Hello, everyone. This is May. Today is Monday, September 3rd, I believe, and it is Labor Day in the United States. And so I'm broadcasting my show a couple hours earlier because I have a big old family event this afternoon, so we're just going to be off doing that, playing. So let's get the show on the road, as I say. Today I have with me in the studio my friend Michelle Cronkite. She is just so amazing. I've just recently reconnected with her, and she was telling me that she is going through a divorce with her husband. Like last month, her husband dropped the bomb and said that, he wanted to end the 23-year relationship with her, and they have kids and all that stuff. And I just, thought, oh, Michelle, would you come on the show and just talk about this? Because I hear this with so many people, and it's so hard to capture the raw voice of what it's like in this place, in this breakdown, ending. Oh, my gosh, my life as I know it is completely blown up. So Michelle agreed to come on and share her story. So thank you so much, Michelle. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, May.
So I have already, just to let the audience know, I already told Michelle that, my job is to listen, to witness you, and ask questions, and also perhaps even share my story, if it's appropriate, into the conversation. And at any time, if you don't feel like, you're ready to talk about that, if it's too tender, feel free to just say, you know what, I can't go there. And we are so fine with it, okay?
Okay.
So, give us a little data background. I actually don't know anything about this story. It's like, how old are you? How long have you been with your soon-to-be ex-husband? What do you even call him right now? So just start.
I'm 46 years old. I have been with my spouse half of my life, which for some reason keeps sticking in my head. It's one of those things that doesn't want to leave me right now, kind of hitting home how long it's been. We have, we've been together for 23 years. We've been married for over 22 of those years. We have 3 kids. Our eldest son is 21, and then we took a while to have more children, a lot of hard work and effort. Mm-hmm. So my 10th and 11th children are 14 and 12.
Wow.
And as far as I was concerned, that was a lot of planning. That was a lot of hospital visits. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
To have those children. They were all very much by choice. And as most children are, I'm not saying they're not, it just was a roller coaster ride having them. And this would be the last thing in the world I would want to do to them.
So right now what I'm hearing is that you're feeling like you or you guys are doing this to them.
Yes, I feel frustrated that something could come this far. It hasn't. Last couple of years of our marriage, probably a little longer, haven't been the easiest.
Yeah.
But to let something go that far, where you unilaterally decide by yourself without seeking help that this is your choice, and then impose it upon everybody else, that infuriates me, to be quite honest. I think I realize he's trying to take care of himself and his own needs, but as far as I was concerned, you throw everything you have at it to see if you can make it work, and then if not, then both parties would certainly know by the end of that effort. But unfortunately, I'm the only one who feels that way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, honey, did you say the word frustrated? I think you're more than frustrated. I think you're pissed.
I do. I've been asking for counseling for quite some time. I honestly think my husband's hormonally, he shows signs of changing. He's coming up to 50 years old this year. I'm hearing from so many people that I know what a hard time this can be for men as they're measuring their lives and if they're not where they thought they would be.
Yep.
And I think that has a huge part of it. I have asked, begged, insisted that he go to the doctors to get that checked out. But upon speaking to the doctor myself about it, probably last January, he said there's not a lot they can do for men. And that adds to my frustration because that wouldn't be my husband's fault. The medical system doesn't look at men going through this and address it very well. As a society, my dad went through this. We don't talk about it enough. We stay quiet, which is one of the reasons I didn't want to stay quiet when you asked me if I wanted to do this. It's something we're talking about, and every man that asks me about it, or even my boys, like, you ever let something like this happen without investigating, I'll be all over you. It's kind of my warning.
Well, I have to say that, you and I have the similar background. We're both life coaches, and we're personal growth junkie. We threw ourselves into learning about our processes and all this stuff for a long time. But a lot of people don't do that, and I think a lot of men don't even know to do that, or don't know that's existing, or never, they just know how to. We just know how to break and leave, and thinking that that's going to fix it, rather than really, getting help, talking about it, and sitting in the fire with it. I think the fire exists whether they leave or not, because it's just painful whether you stay and work on it, or you leave and think that that's going to fix it, and then you end up, in more fire and seeing the pattern and the desolation on the other side. So either way, we're getting the lessons that we need.
You touched on him, absolutely. I have always strived to find out more about who I am, why I am the way I am. Growing up the way that I did in a seemingly nice Catholic home, and thinking it was a cosmic joke that I was born who I was, when I'm so much in tune in so many other ways, but was not allowed to talk about it, was made wrong for it. So as an adult, thanks to my middle son, he really pushed me into being who I am, and it's been a wonderful gift in my life. I've always respected the fact that my husband isn't there, it doesn't interest him, and that's okay until this happened. Then it no longer was okay anymore. He prefers to step back into ignorance, whereas I prefer to dive into the discomfort even when I hate it. If I'm going to learn, then to me I liken it to childbirth, to be quite honest. It hurts like hell. Sometimes it goes wrong and sideways. I've had 3 that neither were the same, and all were quite horrific, but it was worth the effort.
Yeah.
And that's what I consider my growth process, and his seems to be the worst childbirth out of all of them.
So tell us the beginning of the beginning of the end. Like, what was it like? How did he tell you, and what did he say, and then what happened to you?
Oh, when he decided that was that. Duncan's been saying that on and off for a little while, but he would seem to be in a dark place at the time. And I knew if we spent time together, if he just held me, he'd always work out of it. This is one reason I wanted to get him to a doctor as well. I don't know that, he may not be suffering some form of depression either. Our anniversary was in mid-July. We tried to go away for our usual family vacation to one of the local islands here in British Columbia, and we love going. We went for all of 4 days and came home because his mood was so dark and so deep. And on one walk, he had told me he hated me. And that was hard to listen to, but I let him say it. I thought, okay, you need to get this out.
the Skype sound, it's so synchronistic. When you said what he said about you, the Skype just went.
Oh, wow. See the power of negative words? I truly believe they carry an energy. Well, every word carries its own energy.
So he told you that he what?
He said that sometimes he hated me very much. And I thought, okay, get it out. That wasn't the day he ended everything, but he waited till after our anniversary. I tried to get him to go out. He's very stoic and very much a homebody, and the past year and a half had become even more of one, thinking it was a good thing to do, but I knew it wasn't. So he waited till after our anniversary, which was very uneventful, hurtful in some ways, and then told me he needed time to think. Duncan's done that one other time. That's how he processes information. He'll go into himself. Yeah. And my instinct already knew what the answer was going to be. And normally I'll give him the space around something like that, but everything in my body was just pushing me to speak to him, it might sound ridiculous, but I tried to send him as much love through that process as I could. And maybe that did facilitate him in saying, no, it's over, because that seemed to be for him what he needed to say. And being over for him still means we live in the same house. It means he doesn't want to go anywhere. It means if I ask him to leave, he says, well, financially we can't afford it. Holds me responsible for a lot of that, the majority of that, which is unrealistic, but that's where he is at the moment. So it's gut-wrenching to wake up every day, to see him, to not be able to hold him when my guard is down, to be relaxed and almost have a normal conversation that then I would go to say something or call him a name that I would normally call him, an endearing name, and I have to catch myself through all of that. And I've watched him, too. I truly don't believe the words coming out of his mouth are what he truly feels, but I think he's protecting himself. I think for whatever reason, this is how he knows how to protect himself.
Yeah. Well, and I went through an ending of my marriage. God, it's seven or 8 years now, and it was really interesting because I saw the difference between how I was doing it and how he was doing it. It's like he needed a clean break. He needed to just be very professional and minimize our contact and not, and I'm like, well, if this is where we're going, then we could still do it with love, and I can still say, I love you, I care for you, and, I know you're hurting, and I'm right there, and we could still hug and all this stuff. And it's like, no, that's not what he needed. He needed just like separation and clean break, and it needed to just say no, 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 no to me. And that was really hard for me to receive.
It's very difficult. I'm very much I'll still give him a hug when he leaves the house. And my daughter will be sitting with me when he comes over to give her a hug. I said, we're not strangers to each other. I've told him this when she isn't around. We still care for each other. I know he does, whether he'll admit it or not. I can feel it. I've watched him sleep and asked a million questions so I would get my head into reality, and reality still knows that he loves me. He's just protecting himself. So he still gives me a hug, but it is the most awkward thing to witness in the world, and it frustrates me when he does something like that. But that is, I truly believe at the moment, that's all he's capable of. Yeah. If he were able to leave the house today, he probably would have done the same thing. Right. That your ex has done. He would have wanted me to just, please don't speak to him anymore. I was warned by his twin brother when we got married. He had these traits about him. When he needs time, he goes off on his own. He goes into himself. He won't talk. And over the years, I've seen him grow out of that a lot. But it's funny how we go back to what we know that we're really safe and comfortable with, and he just dove right back into what used to protect him.
So what preoccupies your head now?
Pardon me?
What what preoccupies your head? Like what
God.
thoughts
Yeah.
that runs you during the day? What do you obsess over?
It's the kids a lot. That's where the frustration comes from, and trying to get him to realize the choice that he's made is now, although he doesn't want to leave the house, eventually he's going to have to face the reality of his decision. That our kids will have to visit him and in turn then visit me. That whole concept infuriates me because that's something he had clearly expressed to me over the years he had never, ever wanted in our life. I find it's the little things that catch me. It'll be, and it triggers a memory. My spouse has never had, somewhere buried in his subconscious is a personal memory, but upon meeting him, and he was in his mid-20s, he let me know right then and there his personal memory isn't very good and it doesn't last for very long. So he used to journal about our kids, never me, but he journaled about the things that he was afraid of forgetting. I have a memory that goes back to before, too, and I realize it's my own perspective, and you can tell I've had this thrown in my face a lot, but my memory is very vivid. I'm an artist as well, so it's in pictures, too. It's in smells, scents. It's everything. So it's all the triggers of the little things that then set off a chain reaction of memories. That catches me.
Like what are some of the memories that catch you?
Well, lately my father-in-law is dying, unfortunately, of bone cancer. And we had, leading up to this, even prior, been trying to make it. My spouse spent many years always helping his dad, always being there for him. Out of all his brothers, he certainly had been the most. So we've been trying to go as a family. I'll bring out food. They live in a farm. That's why they'd required help. And I'll bring the food, take care of that, and he goes outside, does whatever chores his dad needs doing. Stepping into that house, though, we moved here from Ontario. We moved here so Duncan could come back and support his dad. And what a great place to raise kids with access to a dairy farm and the wonderful things that brought. But I arrived with Michael just before his first birthday, so stepping into that house is a chain reaction of memories of birthday parties, of seeing nieces and nephews, of the trials and tribulations of all the babies that we've lost. It literally is like going through a photo book in my mind. Those things catch me, and I have to take a deep breath. I mean, our wedding picture's mounted. There's no escaping our life as it's unfolded there. That's almost like a little, I don't know how to describe it, but that's like one of those globes where you've got a miniature world inside and you shake it and the snow's there. The farm to me is like our little world that captures so many aspects of our life because we've moved houses. We don't have one house that does that, but we have the farm. And it sometimes I'll just be hearing a song if I'm at work or... It can be all day. It can be so many things. Some are bad. It's like waking up and getting a blow to the head of reality. It's waking up dreaming that I'm sure he told me everything was fine, and then as things settle.
Yeah. So it's like it's one of those moments where I remember waking up and opening my eyes and going, "Wait, what is reality? Did I just watch a really sad movie and that was what's happening, or did that actually happen to me?" And if I close my eyes and open again, will it all goes away, all this pain?
There's one thing that I say to Duncan a lot, and it's not that I mean it in its entirety, because having our old life, when you're coming through this ugliness, it's not that I want the old him or I'd want me to be the old me in all fairness, because it's still that side of me, like we said, that wants to grow and learn.
Yeah.
But I keep saying to him, it's like a bad dream. I want my life back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's been snatched away.
So it sounds, it's so clear that you, this marriage, this relationship, this life, all of it, the ups and downs and the difficulties and everything, like you loved it, you want it, you are so invested and committed into it?
I'm very, as a person, when I commit to something, I'm very committed. Very committed to him. I adore him. Even though I look at him and think, what the hell are you doing? I look beyond that. I see who he is really inside. I see that side of him. And because I have the capacity to see beyond what's on the surface, I should be able to separate myself because I know better. But I see who he really is, and tender in his vulnerabilities, and the fact that I know he's acting out literally because he's so afraid. And as the coach side of me, when I see him clench his fists and stamp his feet, he's not a small man, he's 6'4", but I see, I've never seen that before. Like I click into that mode of, I wonder what needs exploring there. I wonder what child aspects of him have never been honored through these years and are reaching out and wanting to come out. I see far too much. I mean, I'm so connected to him. I've been thousands of miles away from him, and know the second he's gone through something, pick up the phone and he'll start articulating it. I mean, when I connect with somebody, it's at that level that I connect with, that I know probably far more than I ever should. But having him pull away is, I just feel like parts of my body are having to be ripped apart because I still feel everything he feels.
Yeah.
It's not just my experience, it's feeling my kids, it's feeling his. I've got 5 people's experiences running through, and our dog has been feeling this for a long time. Her behavior has been off. I've got all of this. Despite the best grounding and protection that I can do, I've got all of this running in my body. And I'm very aware of where everyone is at. Trying to grieve my own pain and then being there for others at the same time, I find tiring, exhausting, and excruciating sometimes.
Yes. Oh, my God, yes. And this, I don't know if you're here yet, but what just came up was like this whole new definition of love.
Yeah, I am there, actually. I'm trying to get there. I totally understand what you're saying. I'm taking a course right now, and my mentor he knew what I was going through. I've been trying to take courses at the same time while doing this, while it's been upside down for a while. And that's been challenging in itself, but the one that he suggested for this time, knowing what had happened, is on transforming myself around love so that I'll learn the different stages of love and transform to the next level of love so that I'll be able to look at him and not feel the gut-wrenching pain that I feel, so that I can love him in a transformed way. My head completely understands it, wants it. My heart is, it feels like there's a few roadblocks between my heart and my head right now. And my head certainly does know it, but I'm finding I'm resisting reading some of the material. Yeah. I've read half of it, and I quite enjoyed half of it. Don't get me wrong, it helped. But the other half of me is like, really, I'm not sure. I just want to take all of this on at the moment.
Well, I don't want to rush you into that, because it's like that's what I'm talking about. The new level of love is so intricate and so multi-layered, because like just even watching yourself with yourself, like when I was going through that and just learning to be with my pain and learning to go, oh, you're breaking right now. Your heart is breaking and you're just so sad. And just to be there rather than going, come on now, be tough, suck it up, let's go, take care of yourself. And you're not the loser, he's done this to you or you done it, like instead of always just be with that. That's a new level of love, And then learning to love by not hugging him because that's what your old self wants to do, but what he really needs is not to be hugged, not to be touched, and yet can do that and give that to him. That's a whole new level of love that, we didn't sign up for.
I've through the years I've sent him. I'll send him love in many ways, because the way his family grew up and getting to watch that, moving out here, not having my family here, they became my family. So watching how they dealt with their feelings, which is very, it seems to me like there's something in their brain that isn't fully developed. It would, to me, would just be likened to like having a disability of some sort, where just a muscle or something in your brain hasn't fully developed to the capacity that it can, or maybe it's not even aware that it should have been developed. And watching his family process emotions and love, that's where they're at. So he's very much a product of environment. He's very entrenched in his own genetics, because I don't believe that's finite, but he holds on to it like a security blanket. So over the years, I have found other ways other than to be hugging and physical. I've had to find other ways to send him love that would touch him and warm him, and I knew he would experience and feel. But it's funny when you think when the rug's being pulled out from under you, I go back to my old ways of initially wanting to show him. We're almost right back at the beginnings of our relationship. And in some ways, it's like I've forgotten the things that I've learned how to do and that I know about him. So my instinct is to want to hold him and hug him. And he's gone back to his old ways of, well, I'm going to internalize all of this and not let anybody into my world. So he's not the only one who relapsed. I'm totally right there with him, and I see it, and I get frustrated. But learning to experience my pain and to breathe into it, allow what to show up, has given me many insights into myself. Just it being with the pain. I'm often alone in my office at work, and that has given me the opportunity to do this in the moment. Sometimes I can't, other people around, but when I can, I've paced around the office and totally breathing into it, and my own insights. The biggest one that I got, which is something I know down the road I'll have to work on, is complete and utter rejection out of all of this. That was the biggest surprise to me, that I'm obviously feeling, is just completely rejected. And that one hurt my heart the most, so it told me there was something there that I need to deal with at some point.
So wait, tell us again. So what are you saying, that you're discovering this part of you that's feeling completely rejected, or?
Yes. Yeah. What? It was, growing up the way I grew up with and being who I am, somebody who's at one spiritual level, and growing up with very fearful Catholics who live through fear, I do experience the world, at least I'm aware that I experience the world on a different level. So I grew up with a lot of not feeling quite right, wondering about myself, and a lot of self-doubt when you're called a liar, when you're made wrong most of your life, this feeling of not being good enough, and it does attach itself to you. And I've been aware of that for a long time, done discovery work around that, but it never was, it didn't have that impact that the word reject. When that came up in my mind, literally I had seen my whole body in front of me, and if somebody had a rubber stamp with reject, it went from my head to my toes, to every cell, to every part of me, and the realization of how much I was rejecting myself. First it was my husband, and then I realized, oh my God, this is me rejecting myself. So I have been fortunate enough, due to the quiet office that I work in, to be able to do, through breathing through the pain and just trying to release it, but I've had to find out what the pain was about, and that one was the biggest aha I've had in this whole thing so far.
Oh my God, to get to come face to face with rejection, to like sit there and breathe it and see it play out in your whole entire life like a movie, and see how you reject yourself, and how what he's doing, you're interpreting it as being rejected, and so on and so forth, and have that echoes through space and lifetime and years and days of your life. It's just like huge.
Yeah. it's been a huge, the way that I felt when I saw that. I was walking, I was pacing because I was mad, and I was feeling these feelings and trying to breathe through them. I'm sure if we have big picture windows in the office, if somebody was looking through, they must have been ready to call for the straitjacket at some point. But once that hit, I literally, because I was standing, I jumped back and went, oh, it startled me so much, just because I'm so visual. Seeing that play out and the sheer rejection of all of me it wasn't just that, oh, look, I'm rejecting myself. I felt that in every part of my body, just as it was playing out in front of me, because, I suppose that's what I've done to myself. So that I felt a huge, now afterwards, when I sat with that for a while, the level of peace that I felt afterwards was beautiful. I can't say that it wasn't there. It was truly, truly, truly beautiful, because that pointed to my own rejection and my own work that I've been trying to work on for myself. So that was I think that was just like cracking out the next layer of me and seeing what needed, exploring so it could go by the wayside if I'm going to improve myself. And that was it. I'm trying to, out of all of the ugliness, I'm still trying to see the gifts that I receive from this process that I hate on every level. I hate it. But I do get moments where I have to acknowledge I'm receiving incredible gifts at the same time through this.
You said something really subtle, and I wanted to catch it for you, which is you said, if I want to, receive this if I'm going to improve myself. Just now. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to catch it because that's the language of rejection, honey. So,
it's true. Yeah.
Right? Because it's
that's true.
There must be something wrong with me, and so if I can accept this rejection part of me, then I can improve myself, and this will never happen to me again, kind of thing. And the reframe I want to offer you there is no, it's not about improving yourself, but it's about bringing that part of you home, bringing the rejected part of you home. You get to bring her home and say, oh my God, I've been rejecting you all this time. Come home into my heart and just be part of me now, rather than being left out there, being rejected out there.
No, you're absolutely true. And I know this process, that it would be absolutely years of old language coming through, and I'm glad that you caught that, because I know what I'm doing for me is about letting all of me show up.
Yeah.
letting me be myself. I mean, through this, I've a couple of celebrations that I've been able to, even if they were small, and I keep trying to trivialize them, but I don't have my parents very much involved in my life. I keep them at about an arm's reach. But I did, and for various reasons, I did call them up, and through conversation, they know what's going on. But I finally said to each of them individually, I have to stop being made wrong. I am who I am. I'm going to start living my life being out loud about who I am. I'm not going to censor it anymore, and asking them to accept it. And I said, if you don't, it's still not going to stop me from being me, but I cannot be, it was 3-4 years ago at Easter, going to visit my parents, taking my mom out to a winery for lunch and enjoying some one-on-one time with her. She's very crippled. And just having this magical time with her in this beautiful setting, and, between mouthfuls of food, her looking at me and saying, oh, by the way, your father and I think you're going to purgatory or hell when you die for how you raise your children. So that's the kind of thing I've been dealing with all these years. So telling them, and I was very calm after she said it, because it led to a very interesting conversation to find out where they came with those comments, but just saying no more. Finally standing up for myself and saying at 46 years old, because I was the advocate for my sisters, I was the advocate for my parents, I advocated for everybody's happiness in our house to juggle the depression that lived there through my dad, my mom's illness, my younger sister's Tourette's and whatever else is involved there, and my eldest sister is very emotionally damaged from being the first one born into a mess. Their happiness was always paramount to me, and taking care of them and juggling them. I've realized through all of this that I never learned how to put me first. I've never learned how to care about my own needs. Like, just even talking about that is foreign to me. So declaring to them that, enough was enough. I really don't care about your opinions, so please don't bother sharing them anymore. It was done respectfully, and I think it was done very calmly, and they were fine with it, and it doesn't really matter to me what they think. But I was proud of myself for doing that. That's been within the past month and a bit that I was able to do that, and with 2 other people that I'm close with, to finally let them know the kind of intuitive being that I am. I have to stop hiding that as though it's defective and wrong. That's part of my own rejection there again. So
and
been a couple of victories.
As you're talking about that, I just saw this. It's like, oh my gosh, Michelle, this is your time. Like, your husband, a different way of looking at this is your husband is actually stepping stepping away and saying to you, no, you don't have to take care of me anymore. No, you need to take care of yourself. You need to just tend to yourself and separate from me so that I can do my own work and you can do your own work.
I know that. That's something I know to be true. It's one day my heart will come on board with it and say, hey, it's okay. Kind of sometimes when I think about, because it's been a couple of years of physical heart pain that I've had on and off around Duncan. And lately, of course, it's been even more so. It is a very physical pain. But what comes to me when I'm not so tender with it, the image that I see when I notice the pain, I'm trying to notice what it's there. And visually what I get is that almost like it's trying to break free of the barriers that have been put around it, that there's so much more capacity, not to necessarily just take care of others, but there's a bigger capacity involved here, and it's trying to break free. And at some level, I'm trying to show myself that's what the heartache is around.
Yeah.
It is my heart finally breaking free, finally where I could live from that intuitive place, that intuitive energy, and fully embrace who I am and accept it and love me and stop hiding. This is a side of me that I have hidden on and off for years. People only get glimpses of what it is when I'll ask them questions around something or I know about something I shouldn't have known about. It's me stepping into who I really am.
It's just so crazy. It's like on the surface, there's so much pain to tend to. The pain of separation, the pain of ending,
Everything.
The impact of the children, oh, we're not the same anyway, and all the awkwardness of different behavior and all these things. I mean, that in itself could just consume us in that misery and in that sorrow and in that victimhood and in that, all twisted in there. And yet, as you keep talking, I'm listening to you, underneath it is like this humongous liberation. This huge heart is just like throbbing and wanting to get bigger and bigger and take in, soak in all this pain so that she can be stronger and bigger and really learn to independently love rather than codependently love and expand and fly. And both are happening at the same time. It's just so cool to watch.
It's cool and tiring at the same time because I'll catch myself because I know better. Don't get me wrong. I experience the pain when I'm feeling it. I experience it. There's just, unfortunately, my children see it in my eyes sometimes, and that bugs the hell out of me. But
okay, wait. We need to stop you on that one. What's up with that? It seems like you're pretty healthy and and profound and deep with yourself and how you're grieving this. You can see the small part of you grieving and feeling the pain, and you can see the higher part of you, the bigger part of you getting the depth of this. But when it comes to your kids, I hear old language. I hear old ways of behaving and treating them.
You do, because if Duncan, if I was able to, he hasn't spoke to them about any of this. It's been my job to do, to say that Dad and I are going through something. It's up to me to break it to them that eventually he might be leaving, but I don't know when. So loading them with that is not something I've done right now. I talk about what he's experiencing, what I've watched him go through the past while, how we're changing. That doesn't, and that means we may not be together as a couple. I've had to explain. I have very heart-to-heart conversations with about, but having him in the house still is the most difficult, because he tries to carry on as though life is normal. He tries to, other than wanting me to respect his boundaries, he wants to just continue as though, he's not addressing the elephant in the room. And that is the biggest barrier around being able to fully deal with this properly in front of our children. And that's where my frustration and probably all the old language kicks in, because it is confusing as hell to them to hear me and watch me say some things. They've been watching their dad for over a year and a half, like grow a beard that at one point he didn't want to trim, grow his hair long. He's just dealing with so much, and they'll feel that they're all gifted in their own ways, so they'll feel and see at their level what they do. But also they've watched physically him act out and pull away, and but then they've had, from him it's felt, no, everything's fine. He just won't deal with it. So as much as I don't want us to end, I want him gone so that we can properly grieve, so that we can properly embrace what needs embracing, rather than live in this in-between world. That I'm finding is the tricky part. And how do I say that to my kids? Like, well, Dad's here, but he shouldn't be here. I haven't had the courage to do that.
There it is.
That's where all of that stems from.
Yeah, and what's hard about saying that to them?
Because part of me, he's held it, as far as, in his own decision-making process, which he internalized and did on his own, and fair enough. When I've tried to get him to talk about it, to deal with it, I'll only have to move out if you make me. This will only be expensive to me because I had my brother-in-law had said, what is he thinking? This is the most financially crippling decision a man could make. I can tell him that. I know firsthand. And he was married to my elder sister, and I'll commend him for saying that he wished he would have tried more, because she can be difficult. When I spoke to Duncan about it, saying, it's likened to me as the most financially crippling decision you can make, and he's numbers first before emotions. He just looks at me and says, only if you make it. I'll only have to leave the house and cause that extra expense, only if you make it. So he's making me be the one to have him leave, me be the one to push him out the door, and to be the one to have our children know that too. And I keep articulating to him, this was your choice. You opted out, not me. But he won't own that. He will not accept that yet. It's for me to do. So I haven't done that with the kids. I really want that language to come from him. And I'm hoping he visited the counselor with me once. And she's an amazing woman. And again, a gift I've received out of all of this, because it actually did get coordinated through Duncan in his work. He finally gave in to my pleas for counseling. As soon as I said I'd pay for it in another way, then he did what he had to do, so I should have done this ages ago. He came for one appointment, and I'm really hoping at the next appointment, which we have coming up soon, that she will bring this up to him as well, because he looks at me like I'm a lunatic. It just boggles my mind. I guess he thought we'd be roommates for a while.
I keep wondering this, Michelle. Like, how much permission have you given yourself to be really angry? Angry out loud, angry at him, angry, and to
Tons.
show your anger with your kids and all that.
My kids don't necessarily they've seen me steam through the house and then leave. They've seen, with Duncan, he's seen a lot of my anger. And I'm okay with him seeing that. I find his comments around that, about it not being a very attractive quality, or it's nice to see this side of you. I get tons of digs around it, which I actually find quite amusing. But I've definitely expressed my anger. And when I can hold my tongue for a moment and wait till the end of the day, I still feel the anger inside that I can articulate more clearly. I've had a concussion for 10 months, so sometimes my brain recall is not where I want to be, and dealing with a bad concussion on top of this, I find very trying. But it will come out at the end of the day when I can articulate clearly. But I've noticed he's taken to closing his eyes, so we did bring that up to the counselor. I was noticing his behavior around it. He just completely shuts down because he doesn't want to hear it. He does not want to hear the truth. So he had told her it feels like being scolded. This takes him back to his childhood.
Yes.
He feels like he's being scolded, and he shuts it right out.
Yes. Oh, this is where it gets hard. It's like you have the capacity to understand what's going on. He had the courage to ask to leave, to end this marriage, and then as you transition out, that's where it gets really hard and tricky, and old patterns and old craziness things come up, and it's just like, it's hard to see, it's hard to maneuver through. It's so
It is. Some days it's just pure, and I'll look at the end of the day and think, oh my God, okay, I did this again. Okay, damn it, and I'll be frustrated with myself because I'll realize, okay, I shouldn't be going back and doing that kind of behavior. But even when I do try to do it from a place that understands and sees the bigger picture of this, even when I still try to let my anger and my frustration through, but do it in what I would think is a healthier way that doesn't take on all of my old stuff, that's when he really just literally shuts down in front of me. And I'll think, okay, that's your work, that's what you need to do. I like the fact that I can see it. I wish I could do something to help him with it. Obviously, I can do nothing around that, but I feel like I'm just living sometimes in the middle of a vortex where I just and I can control me, and that's what I'm learning to control me, but everything, the chaos all around me, it just feels like I'm just reaching into a storm, and I cannot change it. I can't stop it. I can't alter its pattern, other than just trying to ground and be comfortable with it and find peace in my heart. That's all that I can do at the moment. That's all I have the capacity for.
Honey, I have so much compassion for you. I could just feel you. It's that swirling, and it is like that vortex, and like it's just spinning and out of control, and sometimes you have a whiff of it, and then the other time it's completely just like, how in the hell did we get here? This is just so hard and so crazy.
It seems surreal. There's many times where it just seems like I'm watching something unfold around me, where I often feel, and maybe it's myself protecting me from experiencing everything so rawly all the time, because I feel so exposed many days, which is okay, but it's tiring. And some days I just feel like I'm watching it, and maybe that's just giving myself a bit of a break from it, but and I'll express this, if it were just him and I, that would be one thing. If he would leave the house and let us grieve and let us learn how to build our lives back and deal with all this road bumps that are going to come along the way with that, that would be one thing. It's just this flux of being in between and not having him face his own reality of his own choices. He's not willing to look at the reality of those. That's where the immense frustration comes. And I can know intuitively what I know, but I can't. I feel like I'm so stuck because he's stuck. And I'm trying not to be, but damn,
I
it just
know. And that place of like feeling so stuck and yet trying not to be stuck and knowing that you shouldn't be stuck and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, end up with like, Jesus Christ, this is going to kill me.
This is some days what it feels like. It is the most frustrating feeling in the world. Yeah. And I'll sometimes say to myself, oh, damn, if I don't, I'm challenging myself to learn as much as I can. And if I don't get the best out of this and come to a place of happiness and look back and think, oh, look how much better I am. If I don't get there, I'll be so pissed off for going through all of this. Because, damn it, it better be. And I've expressed this to him so many times when our marriage wasn't as good as it used to be, is that if we can sit in the muck and we can do the work, damn it, it's worth it. It is totally worth it. So I'm still thinking, okay, I'm very entrenched in muck right now. Some days my feet feel like, they're slugging along and I can't move them, but it better be worthwhile.
Oh, honey.
It's just all I can say sometimes that, damn it, this better be worth everything I thought it would be worth to go through this. And for my kids, too, because I'm sorry, I'm an extremely protective person of anybody that I love. And damn it, it better be the best for their lives, too, or they'll be hell to pay. There truly will be.
So at that statement, as much as it thinks it's going to help you, it doesn't help you, just so you know.
I know it doesn't, but it is the part of me that is just, oh, damn it. I'm a friend of mine who did some design work with one of the custom home builders I worked with. Like I said, I am protective of anybody I care about. When I saw the clients trying to shortchange her pay or undercut her work or whatever, she heard about the conversation we had afterwards, and since then she calls me Mama Bear. And because I rear up, and my goodness, do not get in my path or I'm sorry, I'll just demolish you.
Here's the thing. There's a popularity about this Mama Bear place, and I hear a lot of my friends who are moms say that, and we do honor it, and then we hang on to it like it really does serve us. It actually doesn't. The Mama Bear.
I know it doesn't. But.
Right? Yeah. So yes, in fun and jest, I get it. And what I know in here, Michelle, I think there's a reassurance that your inner needs to hear it. And so instead of the Mama Bear thing, it's more like, here's what I know, Michelle, is that this process will be so useful and so loving and so powerful for you, your family, your husband, everybody involved. The way you're going through it and your commitment to your learning and your unfolding will ensure that you guys will come out beautifully on the other side.
That is certainly a beautiful way to think about it, May. Thank you. Because fighting, I'm too tired to fight.
Exactly.
I'm too tired to put the boxing gloves on. I do that. That's kind of my fight or flight mechanism, and I know it's there. It's served me over the years when it's needed to, but it's not something I like to consciously draw upon.
Yeah. And
I'd much prefer.
The Mama Bear, as glorified as she is, what she does is she separates you from your ex-husband. What she does is she has her own game that's actually not really healthy. So it's this trust that you really need to hear. It's like, honey, you're on your way. You're doing a great job. You're so real with your process, and it's hitting you left and right, and you keep rising up and meeting it and integrating it and bringing it home. You'll find a way. Your husband will find a way. Your children will find a way. I totally, completely trust that you guys will find your ways together, apart, and together, and apart, and together, and apart. And it's like that dance.
You articulated exactly what my coach has been trying to get. I guess for 3 years. He's not my coach any longer. He's a wonderful, dear man. But one thing I knew about myself, and he really tried with me, one of the aspects of the learning that I had to do was trust and surrender.
Yeah.
And of course that instinctual part of me that protected my family growing up, that knew to rely on those instincts, never learned to surrender and trust that they were going to be okay if I didn't step in and help.
Yeah.
And it's the final surrender. And I've known that this is a piece that I need to work on. There's a few things about me that I have known that, yes, this is, and it's not due to lack of trying, but it really took for it to be so personal. So when it was even my family or my parents and all the rejection there, it never hit home enough. It never delved down into my heart and soul and ripped it the way that Duncan could have. And this, I guess, and I've even said this to him, and he thinks if you saw the look on his face, you'd realize if he thinks I'm whacked when I say it. I'll say to him, I know I'm going to thank you sometime for this because I know this is what I needed. And he'd just look at me like she's lost her mind again. Here she goes with her babble talk. But I know because I know what it feels like compared to when I was trying so desperately to work on it before. There's no comparing the real feelings involved in this, and it's my whole body. It is my whole experience. It is my children as well. Before, it wasn't touching my children. It needed to assault me, if that's the word to use, in the most vulnerable places.
Yeah.
And it peeled away all of my defenses, and it hurts like hell. But that was he could do that. Only Duncan could do that because I have been trying.
We read in books all the time, right? We have spiritual teachers. We have people in our life that shows up that teach us stuff. And, you read it and it makes sense in your head and it's like, oh, yeah, I understand, blah, blah, blah. But when you're face-to-face with your husband saying, I'm done with you, I hate you most of the time or sometimes, it's like, the whole concept of spiritual teacher goes out the window, and it's like, what the heck?
Yeah. Well, it's the frustrating part has been part of me. Although this is part of me having to face who I am as a human being and love her and allow her to come out full speed ahead. But that same side of me that needs to be explored and to let that into my coaching and all the work that I want to do. That same part of me also feels everything that we're all going through, and to not build a resentment, and I think I've done okay, but some days if I were to go through this as numb as what he is, I look at him and think, what a cop-out. Like, you have no idea what it's like to feel everybody else and have that be a part of your process too. It's not just me. The part of me I'm having to let out is the part of me that's also experiencing so much more pain than I need to. It is it's so bloody frustrating because just in the logistics of a relationship, when he's holding back information that I know he should have shared, and this has been the past year and a half with us, I know, like, instantaneous when it's happened, I get a message, I know. I'm learning have to step back and not talk about it right away because I'm somebody, if I know about it, okay, well, let's deal with it. Let's take it on. So I'm having to learn to step back and hold my tongue maybe for a day. It is hard knowing his stuff without him even admitting half his stuff, and then having to pull back from dealing with it. This is such a life lesson for me, and learning discernment and learning to not just go fully charging in there. I can imagine I would be hell to live with for what I know. It's no wonder he protects himself.
Yeah, and to really, like, as much as you know and as much as you feel, to have to make room to make his process right. The way he does it is also right. He gets to withdraw. He gets to do his crazy thing. He gets to say, I want out of here and not move out, and that's right. And that's crazy.
I know. I know that this is what he needs to do, and to try and not make him wrong.
Yep, and make it all the time. Honey, I have to bring us to a close. I thank you so much for sharing a snippet, a window of what is happening for you. I want to love you and congratulate you for your walk on your spiritual journey. I know it's crazy and swirling like a big old vortex, and I know you'll come out of it. You'll come home and you'll find yourself and you'll find your big heart and you'll discover more about yourself and what you're made of.
Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and your kids, honey, they will be fine. Keep being honest with them. Keep letting them in. Don't hold anything back. Just trust them to be naturally creative, resourceful, and whole in this process with you.
Oh, my goodness. I guess that's really all you had to say around my kids, and it just clicked. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, they know.
I know.
And, they need to cry about it. They need to grieve about it. Yes, that's your job to help them with that. But they really know how to maneuver through this, too. And they need to be reminded that they know.
That is very, very true. Thank you, the way you articulated that. And that's perfect. That actually is perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, honey. I'm right here. You can come back and give us an update anytime. or if you want to do like, hey, here's my next discovery. If you thought meeting my rejection stuff was good, let me talk about this part of me.
I trumped it.
Oh, God. Brace ourselves, put on our helmet, and buckle in.
That's exactly what it feels like. Somebody's armor. Yeah.
Get your
absolutely.
helmet on, put your seatbelt on.
Thank you, May.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you.
Do you want more sex, lies, and consciousness? Access our archives at sexliesandconsciousness.com. While you're there, please leave your comments or suggestions for the show and participate in current SLC conversations with other listeners worldwide.